after the 5 Australian soldiers killed there. So we'll hear from the Prime Minister. We'll take you there live in about 20 minutes from now to Canberra. In the meantime, just continuing on the Republican convention, I've also just seen from our online guru saying that the video hits on Clint Eastwood are getting more traffic on US websites than any other speech at the convention. Ed Blakely, no great surprise there as we forecast that this is already going like wildfire on the internet. But looking back at this convention through the course of this week, do you think it's been a successful convention for the Republicans? Do you think it will help Romney edge any closer to the White House?
Well, I think the convention had a bad start. The storm didn't help. And the president could act presidential while it looked like the Republicans didn't know what they were going to do. But it built over time, and I think the ending was very good. How good is, I don't know. It's really hard to say. Did it move anybody over the line? Let's say you were doubting whether you were going to vote for Obama or you're going to vote for Romney. I'll tell you the truth. I think a lot of people turned their television sets off sometime in the middle of his telling these stories about his family. So he didn't move that dial. Now, you have to go to the other dial, the people who are unemployed and underemployed. They were waiting for him to say, I'm going to get jobs in this area. I'm going to get jobs in that area. He never said it, but he's basically talking about coal seam gas. He's basically talking about drilling offshore. That really gets the Obama base up and running. He never mentioned green industries, something else that gets the Obama base up. So where are these jobs going to come from? And if they're going to come at the expense of destroying the environment, oh boy.
Now, Tim Lynch, when we look at how he approached Barack Obama, he does need to tap into the concerns that voters have. But, Obama is still liked, according to the polls. So it was more a tone of disappointment from Romney, really, wasn't it, about the excitement 4 years ago not leading to, well, in fact, seeing the United States go backwards?
Yes, I think that's right. That Romney knows that if he tries to indulge the extreme of his base and suggest that Obama is some sort of Kenyan socialist in chief, that's not going to play. He prefaces much of what he says and what was said by Ruby and himself in the speech with, we don't think Obama is a bad man, we just think he's a bad president. It was okay to vote for him, but it's also okay to vote for me now, given the disappointment that Obama has brought. So in some ways, and I think this is a remarkable thing we've just observed in Florida, despite allegedly the Tea Party being in control of the Republican Party and full of kooks and pseudo-racists and birthers, what they actually delivered up is a candidate that's more centrist, more pragmatic than really any president in recent American political history. And that speaks to his potential chances come November. He's presented himself as a viable, pragmatic, non-ideological alternative to the incumbent.
The pitch from Mitt Romney, and I'm just trying to find a clip of it here just to replay. Mitt Romney talking about how he's just like you, just like the normal American public, despite his quite incredible riches and privileged background, was quite blatant. Have a look at what he said on that.
I was born in the middle of the century, in the middle of the country, a classic baby boomer. It was a time when Americans were returning from war and eager to work. To be an American was to assume that all things were possible. When President Kennedy challenged Americans to go to the moon, the question wasn't whether we'd get there, it was only when we'd get there. The soles of Neil Armstrong's boots on the moon made permanent impressions on our souls. Ann and I watched those steps together on her parents' sofa. Like all Americans, we went to bed that night knowing we lived in the greatest country in the history of the world.
Greg Sheridan, just a final a question to you. That's really as far as Mitt Romney could go to liken himself to ordinary Americans, wasn't it? Watching events that shaped the century. His background is quite different to most of those he's trying to appeal to.
Yes, and I must say, I think it's no sin to be rich. You know, it doesn't disqualify you from holding high office. But but everybody has to pretend that they had a log cabin background. Incidentally, I thought the best speech as a speech of the convention came from Paul Ryan, who has more of that kind of background. But when Mitt Romney's wife said they moved into a basement apartment, well, why did they do that? Because George Romney owned the whole building or something, and they chose to live in the basement. But on the other hand, you can't really hold that against the guy, and it's just part of this sweet, endearing, but sort of terminal hokiness of American politics that you have to say, by golly, it was tough on like Barack Obama. He wrote a memoir about being underprivileged at Harvard. He went to the best private school in Hawaii and then ended up at Harvard. Well, most of the planet would like to be underprivileged that way, but I think that's just the pabulum of American politics.
I think that's right. We've just witnessed another defining moment in it. I want to thank Greg Sheridan, Tim Lynch, Ed Blakely for your analysis on this afternoon. Thanks very much for that. After the break, we're going to go back to the convention itself. We'll be talking to CNN's political editor, Paul Steinhauser. Stay with us.